And welcome in to another edition of A Closer Look. I am your host, Dwayne Nelson. With me from King University today are Jody Helbert and Ashley Harless. And I am so glad to have you folks here on A Closer Look with me today. Let's start out by talking a little bit about some of the history of King University, how it was formed and how long it's been around.
Absolutely. So we are actually celebrating our 150th anniversary this year. So I know it was probably on the news over the weekend. We had the Josh Turner concert and our Dogwood alumni event. So we're really excited to be celebrating our 150th year.
There's just a lot going on at King right now, and you offer a lot of different programs as well.
We do. So we're really excited. We have over 90 majors and minors in our undergrad program, and we have I couldn't even tell you how many graduate and professional studies programs we have, as well as online. We offer face-to-face programs in Southwest Virginia, Kingsport, Bristol, just throughout the Tri-Cities down to Knoxville.
So it really seems like right now that you all are branching out into other areas and garnering students from all across our region, but in other areas as well, I'm sure.
Absolutely. So we're really thrilled. I actually work in our office in Richlands, Virginia, and we recruit for students from as far as Bluefield, West Virginia, Pikeville, Kentucky, Knoxville. We've had offices in Nashville, so we're pulling students from all over, as well as our online population. We have international students.
One thing you're really proud of is your online bachelor's degree of social work. And talk a little bit about exactly what that is.
Okay. Well, I always say that social work is more than just a major, that it's a career with a calling, because it takes a level of compassion that is unprecedented in lots of other fields, so advocacy skills that students need to have. In social work, our primary mission is to enhance human well-being, and so to help meet basic human needs of all people, with particular attention to very vulnerable populations, so those who experience oppression and living in poverty, those kinds of things. So a historic and defining feature of social work is the profession's focus on the individual well-being in a societal context. Fundamental to social work is the environmental piece, is how we see the person within the environment and what those impacts are of people with how their problem situations contribute.
Now, let me ask you something. I guess that comes in really handy in this area, in this region, but I would assume all across the United States.
Yes, and so with particular attention to substance abuse issues, with issues of living in poverty, and we have a very proud history here in the Tri-Cities, and so when we have parts of our citizenry are suffering, social work has their hand on the pulse of that.
How big of a problem are you finding that it is here in this region?
Oh, it's enormous, and so we encounter regularly people who have had issues with substance abuse even into pregnancy, and so it impacts the entire family. Substance abuse is not an issue that is singular, so it's not an individual issue but a family issue.
Now, I know that there has been a lot of, I would say, an increase in opiate use among women who are pregnant, and then of course that branches over into our medical field as well, so the cost, it just keeps increasing.
Right. So on a societal level, the things that social workers do to improve living conditions impacts everyone. It impacts the community. So at every level, in social work we say the micro, macro, meso level. So micro is individual, and then we talk about families, and then we talk about whole societies, all the way into global aspects that have, far-reaching.
So when you talk about social work, you're not just talking about the individual who is suffering, but you're also talking about the impact that they make on others' lives.
Exactly, yeah, the cost associated, the cost to family disruption. So,
I'm sure that's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what can students do with a degree in social work?
Well, the BSW degree is arguably the strongest bachelor level human services degree available. So first, students at King and other students in social work are required to do an extensive 400-hour internship. At King, it's 400 hours. At other places, it's different. But this gives students practical experience in social work beyond the theories that they learn in class. So they get to really put it to use, and then they can add that to their resumes, and employers love that. So they come with some experience already. So the social work profession promotes the BSW degree as an entry level to professional practice. That's social work is unique in that way because other professions that are human services related bypass the bachelor's degree and seek a master's degree of entry level. Social work is different in that way.
Now, do these people have on-hand skills that they use within the program while they're doing it?
Well, yes, then they learn a series of different techniques and theories, treatment modalities, practice skills, things that work that they can use directly with clients.
So what all areas, I guess, when you say social work, it's kind of I'm sure a broad area.
Yes, because we educate students at a generalist level, so the aspects, the prospects of jobs, it just is vast. So I have a huge list. And so on our website, we also provide some information, but students can start out and right away with a bachelor's degree. They can do substance abuse counseling. They can be certified at that level. They can do medical social work, hospice social work, legal social work. They can also do policy analysis. School social work. They can do. There's a new area of social work called veterinary social work.
Wow.
Yeah. So I have a certification in equine assisted psychotherapy, and so our clients can do animal assisted psychotherapy or animal assisted therapy in general. They can also do parish social work. And then in addition, they can do child protection, foster care and adoption. The list just goes on and on. It's extensive.
Now, and I guess the biggest area when you say social problems in this area, what do you find is the biggest problem that is faced in our area?
Well, there's a great deal of poverty, and I think probably substance abuse is probably the primary, but poverty is still at the top, and it's something that we can, as a group, as social workers, as individual citizens, that we can work to ameliorate, that we can get past that.
So there is a big demand for a student that goes into this field for them to find a job.
Oh yes, absolutely. And so at the BSW level, they can seek a license. In Tennessee, the license is voluntary, but it adds so much credence to what they can do, and it tells employers that these students have all of these skills that they can start out right away in the field to help clients.
Now, you were saying that graduates need a license to practice. Talk a little bit about that particular aspect of it.
Okay. Well, in Tennessee, the license is voluntary, but in other places it's mandatory before they can start to practice. They can get a license at the bachelor level, so it's the LBSW. They can get a license at the master's level, and they have that before they go into clinical practice if they are interested in clinical practice. But they can stop at a bachelor's degree and practice, and are certainly very marketable. And so it gives employers the understanding that our students are equipped to do what they need to do. And they appreciate that because there's so much less training that needs to be done with BSW students.
Now, does King University help students in placement and that sort of thing, even in any degree, whether it be social work or anything else?
We do. On the social work side, we have a faculty member who helps facilitate that. Students in the social work program have to do their clinical field work with someone who is an LCSW. In other programs, say our MSN program, our family nurse practitioner, we do facilitate that. Our students, we have a limited number of seating because we only have a certain number of preceptors for that. So we've identified those individuals, and obviously if anyone knows, an LCSW, and we can have those go through an approval process, possibly.
We have to correct
Please
that.
do. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, we have to
No.
correct. So they don't have to have an LCSW, but they have to have a bachelor's or a master's in social work.
Oh,
Some
I
of them,
see, yeah.
some of them don't have a licensed clinical degree or a clinical license, but they have to have an sorry, they have to have a BSW or an MSW.
Oh,
We have about 60 partners within the Tri-Cities who provide that supervision, and we call it field instruction for our
So
students.
does a student have the ability to once they graduate, to go to one of these facilities to work and to
Oh, yeah.
let their skills be
Right.
made known?
So most of the time, when our students have gone through their field instruction with a certain agency, that agency sees what they're capable of and they want them. And so they get to be the first, they get priority. So they're
Right.
on there's a better word. So they get the priority, help me, like when you're applying for a job and
Well, you would go to the head of the list
Thank
as
you.
far as with
and
priority for jobs.
exactly,
placement,
yeah.
Now, who can actually call themselves a social worker?
Only someone who has graduated from a CSWE accredited program. Because we have title protection, it's illegal for just anyone to say, well, I'm a social worker here or there if they haven't graduated with the degree. So they have to be degree holding from an accredited program.
And people, of course, can get a hold of your offices at King anytime and talk to you about it and come in and maybe that's something they want to do and they just don't know how to go about it.
Absolutely. So they can always contact the admissions office. And I know that our information is on the website, king.edu, for traditional and GPS programs, that one night a week or online offering.
So it's very simple to do.
Absolutely.
We're going to come back. We're going to talk a little bit about the program at King and some of the other things that we have that we're going to talk about concerning King University.